Welcome to PRAJNA SPARKS Special Series 59 Days of Healing, where we explore one maxim from the Tibetan Lojong text, 7 points for healing dualistic mind each day, to integrate the practice into our lives. Today is Day 2, Point 2, Nurture the Intent to Awaken, and Maxim 2, Treat Everything as a Dream. Why would we do that? Everything is real, isn't it? How does pretending everything is a dream help us? Does it mean we should pretend we can walk out in the middle of traffic and it'll be fine, like a dream? Not quite. This maxim is actually extremely profound. Before we get into it, let's frame what's happening here. Most of us who have anything to do with podcasts have incredible privilege. How are we going to optimize this privilege of a priceless human existence? Is the exploration that we began yesterday with Maxim 1, first lay the foundation. We could understand the rest of this text as a response to that question, beginning with Point 2, Nurture the Intent to Awaken. This is the Sanskrit term bodhicitta, the mind of awakening, which in Point 2 is addressed from the perspective of ultimate bodhicitta, another way of describing the Sanskrit term shunyata, the emptiness, which the Buddha describes as the true nature of reality. Maxims 2, 3, 4, and 5 relate to formal meditation practices that we can undertake on the cushion to support our increasingly subtle understanding of the emptiness and inform our everyday life, rendering our experience one of openness, spaciousness, and possibility, shot through with the warmth of infinite interconnection and the compassion, love, caring, and benevolence that spontaneously arises from that, rather than the far more tense, limited, and, frankly, small self-importance that dualistic mind offers up. Let's look at the practice of Maxim 2, treat everything as a dream. On the surface, of course, it's very much a practice out in the world, off the cushion, in what the Tibetan tradition calls post-meditation. Yes, everything off the cushion when you are not meditating is post-meditation. Your life has the possibility of actually reinforcing your practice rather than inhibiting or preventing it. And your formal practice has the possibility of enriching, clarifying, empowering, and fulfilling your life's highest aspirations. This maxim kind of bridges life and meditation. Treating everything as a dream does not mean pretending things aren't real when they are. It means recognizing that nothing is real the way it seems. The Buddha's teachings on the emptiness relate to understanding that we, other beings, the environment we inhabited, and everything that lives within it, our own opinions, beliefs, views, and thoughts, do not exist truly. What does that mean, exist truly, or true existence? It means existing independently, in and of itself, without any kind of connection to other things, to causes, conditions, and most importantly, our own subjective experience. Everything that we experience exists the way it appears to us only in our mind. I'm going to say that again. Everything we experience exists just the way it appears to us only in our mind. Any other being experiencing the very same thing will have a very different subjective experience of it. This is how words can actually blur the situation. We all talk about a tree or a car or that person or the color red, whatever it may be. And we all assume that everybody else is experiencing those things precisely the way we do. Why? Because it exists truly, objectively, independent of my, your, or anybody else's subjective experience. But that's just not the case. Nothing exists independently, so that anyone looking at it will have the exact same experience of it. Everything exists interdependently, originating in dependence on different causes and conditions. Primary amongst these, the subjective experience of the observer. While it's helpful to look at life as a dream to bring us more receptivity and lightness, less tension, open up possibilities to making wiser choices, and so forth, this maxim is a lot more than that. We use the lightness of treating everything as a dream in our everyday life to start loosening the grip that dualistic mind has on our experience. This means that when it comes time to sit in our formal meditation practice, which will start momentarily, our mind is already a little more supple, more flexible for the meditation. It's more responsive and receptive, nimble, and able to engage very subtle, refined experiences of shunyata. The approach we use in this and the next three maxims is informed by the Kagyu lineage emphasis on Buddha nature and Mahamudra. Off the cushion, this maxim allows our mind to develop more elasticity, more of a sense of wonder and possibility, instead of being bogged down with the very meager choices that dualistic mind allows. Instead of that fist that is clutching at those habitual responses, we end up with a palm, face up and graceful, receptive, and able to interact with any situation in a very immediate way, very much in the present moment, instead of being stuck in habits and memories, possibly even wounding and trauma. It also starts to loosen up our very rigid ideas that reify things, make them concrete the way they seem to be. Explore a little bit in your everyday life. Is the way things seem and the way they are the same? In a dream, it's very easy for us, once we're awake or even once we're aware that we're dreaming, such as in a practice like lucid dreaming, to know that even though things appear to be a certain way, it's a dream. Things don't actually exist the way they appear to do. That's one of the ways that this maxim provides an example for everyday life experience. The second way is that in a dream, we know this is happening entirely through the subjective experience of our mind. We don't think somebody else is having our dream. We know that this is our personal subjective experience. Life is like a dream in that things do not exist the way they appear to do, and the way they appear to exist to us is an entirely personal, subjective experience. This is important. Our subjective experience of everything is that everything exists truly, independently, objectively, out there somewhere, for anyone to see just the way we do. This is false, and yet we take it to be true. This is the misperception that characterizes samsara, right within our experience, every moment of every day. Tackling that is at the root of overturning samsara. We'd be doing ourselves a disservice if we see this maxim solely as providing dualistic mind a playground, making wise choices, being less emotionally reactive, enhancing our creativity, flourishing on an individual and even grander level. These are all wonderful things. We should rejoice in them. They're not meant to be put aside. But the Buddha's teachings are saying that's the bare minimum. The Buddha doesn't teach so that we become the cream of the crop, the top 1% of samsara. In fact, the Buddha is saying, all of this is so small compared to everything you are. Don't settle for that. The magnificence of this practice is that it's asking us to welcome everything we experience as grist for waking up from samsara. Emptiness is the true nature of everything. People, places, things, emotions, thoughts, opinions, beliefs, views, anything is the raw material for unveiling our Buddha nature. Beginning with the formal meditation practice for this maxim, we'll be using our own experience as the crucible for encountering, understanding, and integrating the view of emptiness as the operating system for our life. So don't sell yourself short. The Buddhist path is a lot more than a program for making samsara great again. The Buddha is teaching us a path that allows us to fully embody all our wisdom, our love, our benevolence, our caring, our delight, equanimity, joy, fearlessness, all of it without making us small. Once we've embodied Buddha nature fully and completely without impediment, we can metaphorically look back on all of this and say, that really was just like a dream.
Maxim number 2. Treat everything as a dream. For our meditative inquiry, we will explore our life experiences to see how they are, or are not, like a dream. So before we begin, recall the points Lama Yeshe mentioned yesterday about meditative inquiry, some of which we will touch on just briefly. Meditative inquiry is an insight or vipassana practice from the Tibetan Buddhist tradition. It's an exploration during formal meditation that is experiential in quality. It's not purely analytical or conceptual. It's not like thinking about or pondering something just willy-nilly. Rather, it is defined in scope by our seeking. That is to say, the topic we are curious about and discovering through our practice. Keep your area of inquiry focused. Sustain the boundaries of your inquiry. Meditative inquiry alternates between insight practice and tranquility practice, between vipassana and shamatha. To begin with, just arrive, take your seat. Let go of anything that's happened before you sat down, any thoughts, feelings, emotions. You don't have to push them away, but don't get caught up in their storylines. Just come into the present moment of how you're feeling right here and right now. Feel your embodiment. Let go of any thoughts, worries, concerns. Just feel your presence here and now. So as we ground like this, the first step is traditionally just to go for refuge. So if you don't have a refuge practice, simply call to mind goodness, your sense of goodness in the universe, in the world, something both which you can rely on and which you aspire to. If you do have a formal practice of refuge, let's begin with that. So let's just take a moment to do that, however feels appropriate to us. Now, to start off with, let's just calm the mind, enter into that fine balance of awareness that's sharp and one-pointed, alert, but also restful and at ease. We do this through the tranquility meditation, and we can take the breath as our object so that we notice anytime we get distracted or start to feel dull or sleepy. We just bring the attention back to the breath without judgment, kindly. So let's do just one cycle of 7 inhalations and exhalations, settling the mind in that way. Remaining in touch as much as you can with the stillness and clarity you settled into in your tranquility meditation just now. Allow a sense of tenderness, of kind-heartedness towards yourself as we move into this meditative inquiry. This warmth, this kindness towards ourselves is so important, especially when we're tackling these big, substantive inquiries. So really just feel that warmth and tenderness towards yourself for a moment. Meditative inquiry is more like feeling your way in the dark to find something that you put down, rather than trying to remember where you left it. You might have a sense of clarity in the inquiry, and if that happens, pause. Just rest with that sense, that sharp aha experience as the one-pointed object of your concentration, until it fades, and then continue with the meditative inquiry. And even if that clarity, that aha moment doesn't happen, pause just to rest from time to time in the space of tranquility. Allow yourself to alternate between rest and looking. That's the meditative inquiry process, moving gracefully between rest and inquiry as appropriate for you. Treat everything as a dream. Begin by calling to mind an experience you had earlier today or yesterday. Don't overthink it. It can be anything, important or not, pleasant or not. Take a few moments just to be in the memory of that experience. Now, is that experience real? Or is it like a dream? We can think, well, that really happened to me. But as you sit here now, on this meditation seat, look for yourself to see how that experience differs from an experience you had in a dream. Your present moment experience right now of both the dream and this morning's occurrence are very similar, wouldn't you say? Examine how they both seem so real in the moment they are experienced, and yet, when you look back on them both, what is there to distinguish them in your experience right now, save for a very firmly held belief in your mind that one is real and one is not? As we do this examination for ourselves, we can start to experientially play with loosening our mind's deeply ingrained, knee-jerk reaction to take experience as real the way we encounter it. What happens if you treat whatever you are experiencing right now, whether it be a pain in your knee from sitting, or a feeling of excitement at this meditation inquiry, or a slight tremor of boredom that this instruction is taking this long? What if you treat all of it as a dream? It is not nothing. It is your vivid experience. And yet, as we just began to see, nothing has this fixed, lasting, independent quality to it that we naively assume it does. If things do not exist as they appear, and yet we experience them as though they do, what does that mean? Isn't that like the experiences of a dream? Why is this important? If samsara is misperception, we can cut to the quick of that misperception in any of our experiences. Every moment offers the opportunity to perceive things with prajna, intricate and precise discernment of reality, just as it is. This meditation is an initial step delving into this immense topic. There's much more out there in the tradition that we can look into and practice, but right here and now, this is a good start. Let's conclude this practice by taking whatever goodness, whatever positivity, excitement, or uplift of mind, anything that we've experienced, as well as the positive force that comes from our meditation and our intention to awaken, and share it freely with all beings, such that we may all be free. Thank you so much for your meditation and your practice and this amazing journey we are on together.